Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. AJ, Rudolph, and Blais coming to you live as the Avs are taking on the St. Louis Blues for the first time this season. Two teams in two very different locations as far as the way the starts of their seasons have gone, but also two teams looking to keep, can we call what the Blues are doing a winning streak?
Well, they're not losing every game anymore, so sort of.
The two teams that have won their last game. How about that? Is it two?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Blues have won two in a row.
Still not a winning
Sharks,
streak. But,
Vegas, right?
So if they win tonight, it would be a winning streak. Avs trying to prevent that and extend their streak to 5 games.
Well, and so far St. Louis has only been streaks. They won 3, lost 8. Now they've won 2.
Yeah.
Don't give them the 3. Keep them down.
I mean, AJ, I think you said this to me the other day. You don't want to be the get-right team for St. Louis, right?
You don't want to be the team that they use as the launch pad to get their season back on track. If you have, especially a division rival that like you had a tight postseason series against, their misery to start the season, and it's really unfounded. I mean, they don't have major injury issues. It's underperformance.
They just have
Ryan
Ryan O'Reilly
just played like
shitting
shit.
the bed. Yeah.
Like their players have played like shit.
Yep.
That's their problem.
They haven't been able to get back into games. Like
Yep.
they'll give up a goal, and then you can just see all of them like,
Oh, God.
oh
Yeah.
no, here it comes again. I mean, it's not good.
It's a fair point, though. They do have a little bit of that Dallas stylings where they are a much better team when they play from ahead.
Yeah.
So
Most teams are.
for sure,
To be fair, most teams
for
are,
sure,
you
but
know.
but the Blues have that grindy, hate to play against some type of style where they get that lead and it's clamp it down.
Yes.
Let's play some boring hockey.
Well, they don't have the personnel for it anymore.
Yeah,
Because they're
that's true on their defense for sure.
the way that their defense is constructed, that I don't know that they could put clamps on a child at this point. You've got too many.
Between Falk, Krug, and
You have too many soft defenders.
even Parayko as your number one D.
and
like
who,
DD.
who has not handled that responsibility? Like
Yeah.
Justin Falk's been their best defenseman.
Yep.
Torrey Krug has been a little underwhelming for the contract given to him. Nick Leddy is washed and has been. And the fact that St. Louis fans universally thought the world of Nick Leddy, tells you all that you need to know about their fandom and how they see the game, which is shitty. But also like that he looked better than the other guys. Are you for real with this? Like, and then
He
Nick
was
Leddy,
maybe the worst defenseman in that series.
right? And then Nick Leddy got murked in that series. So,
I don't know.
and what did they do? They gave him more money. They signed up for 4 more years of it. So, hey, man, anytime you can watch a guy in a precipitous decline in his career, and you could sign up to make sure that you're at the death knell of his effectiveness as an NHL player, you've got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a requirement, right? You just have to.
Chat might want to tell some people to refresh if they're stuck on waiting. So, help your brothers out, brothers and sisters. You know how it is. Anyway, the Blues. Well, let me ask you this way: do you think the Blues are still a playoff team this year?
Right now, no. I mean, it's still early on. They have issues in net right now. Some of their stars that have contract years, like O'Reilly, not
Tarasenko.
playing where he should be.
Yep.
I mean, right now, he's usually, 70, 80-point guy?
60, 70 is right in that range.
Yeah, he's tracking to be like
He had a good
30,
week.
40. Yeah, he did. He's starting to pick it up.
Well, he went from 1 point to like 5.
Yeah.
So when it's like, oh, in comparison, the week that he had was great. Finally, about time. But it's a fine week. If he did that every week, if he had 4 points every week, he'd be a very, very, very productive player.
Yeah.
And there would be no question. But he hasn't been. He's had one good week so far. Brandon Saad finally finally scores a couple of goals. Like, Jordan Kyrou continues to disappoint and not Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas both coming off of fat contract extensions have not done anything to justify that number
Well,
yet.
and they were like the main points of like the offense last year, right? Like,
well, in the Tarasenko revival.
Yeah, you were getting a lot of points from them, and then you were also getting O'Reilly points as well.
Yeah.
And it was shaping up.
You also
real
had a
good for
point
them
per game
last year.
season out of Braden Shen.
Yeah.
It was almost like the year that they had where absolutely everything broke their way.
Yeah.
Was unlikely to happen again.
Yeah.
And the rest of the roster, they lose to David Perron right off the top. No real replacement for him.
Yeah.
Turns out Nathan Walker can't do that job. And then, the defense, again, as mentioned, not very good. Jordan Binnington has gotten progressively worse each year since the miracle run to the Cup. As a regular season goaltender, it has been worse. And they don't have Ville Husso. They don't even have Charlie Lindgren, who was their third goaltender and helped prop them up in the number of games he played last year.
Yep.
Right now, Charlie Lindgren's doing yeoman's work as Darcy Kemper's back up in Washington. So you're talking about their whole depth has been hollowed out behind Jordan Binnington. They are all in on Jordan Binnington is the man who will primarily be responsible for, yes, they're a playoff team, or no, they're not a playoff team. And depending, I'm obviously in like Avs world, we're like, Jordan Binnington.
I want to get to that topic, but I want to talk about the defense first so we can go in order here. Obviously, on the Avs side, Andres Englund, the call-up to play that 6th D-man spot with Curtis McDermott injured.
It's hot up here.
Look, it is what it is. Expectations are very low here. This is a defensive D of, honestly, AHL caliber hockey. And you're just going to try and survive the minutes he plays tonight. There's not really any two ways around that. Because that's it. That's where the Avs' defensive depth is at right now. That's what they have left.
Andres Englund, Keaton Middleton are two guys that fit the Curtis McDermott archetype to a T, but are worse versions.
Really?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
You're going to notice the foot speed for Englund isn't going to be there. The puck skill isn't really going to be there. There's not really going to be much in the way of offense. He's big. He can block shots. He's real big. He can block shots, and he can absolutely smoke somebody if he gets them lined up. But I think he's going to have a harder time doing that because, again, foot speed is not there. It's going to be over under 10 minutes.
I said under earlier.
Yeah.
So I just don't.
Good under?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The Avs have pretty consistently shown they're comfortable playing Taves and Makar 27, 28 minutes a night.
I think they're going to push 30 tonight because they're going to have to.
Oh, it depends on the game, right? As well. Like, you're going to see those minutes if it's going to be close. If it goes out of control.
If it gets to 4-0 on either side, then I think you definitely see them try and roll it a little. Just
And look, that's always a given. Game situation will come into play there. But I think part of the real conversation here is, you know what? You didn't get a great game out of Josh Manson the other night. You'd really like to see what is now the Avs' second pair step up and give a little bit more against look, St. Louis's record might not be great, but they're not a team you can take lightly.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's a team that you look at the bottom of the standings and you say they are underperforming their talent level.
Yep.
However you feel about Binnington and the defense and whatever, like Ryan O'Reilly and Pavel Buchnevich and Braden Shen and
there's too much talent.
On and on at Tarasenko and on at that forward core. Kyrou and Thomas, there's just way too many guys who can beat you. Yeah. And given that their strength, and this goes back to the playoff series, their strength lies in the quality of the depth. It's not so much that their high end is going to match up to your high end. Colorado will have the advantage when the Avalanche are on the ice. St. Louis will have the advantage when every other line is on the ice.
Yeah.
Now, the defense normally would be heavily in Colorado's favor, but given the injuries here, Colorado's top pairing can help push that forward. This might be a night where you consider not playing Taves and Makar
with
all the time with your top pairing and just try and if the idea is to try and win that matchup as hard as possible, which is what we've seen them do with success, mind you, during this winning streak, it's been because their top guys have just dominated the top guys from the other team. But you might consider in this situation, you might say, maybe we pick our spots a little differently. We try and roll out Taves and Makar behind Newhook, Rodriguez, and Kaut instead. Maybe try and balance it a little bit, because if the all or nothing approach doesn't work.
Well, I mean, look, the Avs might have a little ace up their sleeve here, and I would never, ever tell anyone to run a goalie. But I would tell someone to give Binnington a little nudge. Just touch him a little bit. Give him a little poke. Because that guy will fly off the handle.
Yeah. I mean, there's tape out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
You're going to give a little bit extra in front of that net because he doesn't like to get touched. You see what happens. He loses his mind. He loses his concentration. It's bad.
Well, and from St. Louis' side, they always say he's trying to fire his team up. And it doesn't seem like...
It's not working this year.
It doesn't seem like going after opposing goalies while you're skating to
Get pulled
the
out
locker
of the game.
room,
Yeah.
or while you're skating to the locker room at second intermission is really going to do a lot for the motivation of your team.
Yeah.
Him, chesting up Ilya Sorokin as they passed each other was like, are you the biggest man-child in the league? In a league full of them. Could Jordan Binnington win a fight against another NHL player? I'll even let you pick the player. Sam Girard, Alex DeBrincat, Cole Caulfield. Combined, I have just described 9 feet of NHL players. Could he take any of them? Do you trust Jordan Binnington to fight anybody?
No.
If Jordan Binnington ever let me at him, hold me back, and then his teammates don't,
He's gonna run scared.
is he gonna get bodied if somebody actually gets him to drop him?
He will never put himself in that situation.
Yeah, right.
Should that be Alexander Georgiev's number one mission?
Body Jordan Binnington.
Fight Jordan Binnington.
Honestly, could maybe be the most interesting that could possibly happen in this game. I'm here for it.
I mean, if Andreas Englund wants to endear himself to everybody in Colorado, run that guy and then fight him.
Could you imagine?
Don't actually run him. I mean more
I know.
upset him
I know
a
what
little
you
bit.
mean. And
Yeah.
again, don't want anybody to get run. Would never wish
That's
injury on
not-
anyone.
Yeah, I don't mean that in any way.
Could you imagine how unbelievably upset St. Louis's fan base would be?
The joy of it would be if Binnington gets hurt during the fight
Yeah, right.
and not in whatever would spark it, because I really don't want to listen to that city have anything to say again.
Right. Agreed.
If that fucking dork who runs the Blues Buzz or whatever
Yeah, oh
blog,
my God.
if that guy gets any ammunition whatsoever to complain about Jordan Binnington again, he might be the most well-armed man in America right now. Which is really saying something.
So, I mean, look, it is what it is. We know historically the Avs' track record against the Blues, especially in the early season, is not great because they end up playing games where half their team is missing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Their matchups last year predominantly take place while the Avs are either completely checked out and uninterested in the end of the season or at the beginning of the season where they were still completely checked out, but that's mostly because they were checked into infirmary.
Yeah. It's just the truth. I don't know.
Yeah, and we're here again.
Yep.
It's a healthier Blues team than the Avalanche team, but from an Avalanche perspective here, you don't. You feel like every game that you win with your roster looking like this is
free money.
is
Yeah.
gravy, and if you're beating good teams like you beat Nashville, Nashville's kind of been on the outs, and you beat their backup goalie, you're kind of like,
Yeah.
whatever, you'll take it. You feel good about it, of course.
You beat an up and down Carolina team.
You beat Carolina, you feel good about it no matter what.
Sure.
You beat St. Louis tonight. You're really like, here we go.
They're in the division. I mean, they're at the bottom of the
Yeah.
division, but it's still a division game.
Take care of home ice,
Yes.
and whatever happens on the road happens. But you continue to protect the house. You stay dangerous,
And maybe,
especially in a division again that has not been. There is not a clear runaway team in this division at the
certainly
moment.
not. And I mean, maybe it's just me, but I think there is a little bit of something to getting 5 games above 500. you hit that 5-game mark above 500, it feels like, okay, you've put that in the rearview mirror. You're not really flirting with going back to that number anymore.
Yeah.
Go forward, become the super Avalanche that everyone knows is insanely good.
Go forth and dominate.
Yeah,
young ones.
exactly. We got a super chat here. $2 from Pin King saying Ryan O'Reilly back to the Avs as a rental.
Highly unlikely.
If
you're
in
the-
division would be crazy.
If you're
but-
the St. Louis Blues, knowing that the Avs would have to absolutely like come hard with an offer, you're taking pretty much any other offer out there, right? Because you don't want to give them Ryan O'Reilly and then watch as your former captain goes back to the team that drafts him and has like this whole flirty fucking fun romance coming back home where he gets to raise the cup. And we come full circle on the Ryan O'Reilly and Colorado career arc.
I just don't think it would happen just from what happened in Colorado as well.
Because he doesn't really have. I don't know. I don't know what his no trade clause status is.
Yeah.
I'd be so surprised if those feelings existed, knowing that Greg Sherman was GM at the time.
It's a whole
Greg
different
Sherman was the
front
guy that
office,
was in charge.
basically, yeah.
Your front office has undergone a lot of meaningful changes.
Sure.
Since then. The raw feelings probably don't exist with the current regime in the same way. You know, I'm sure Sakic is still has some thoughts about it.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, Sakic signed an offer sheet once upon a time. but-
yeah, and we don't talk about that for a reason. Shout out Harrison Ford, deuces. But really, like, I just don't. I have such a hard time imagining that the Avs come with such an impressive offer that
Well,
the Blues are
so
like, we have to do this. Sorry.
Here's the thing. Like, prior necessity to all of that is that the Blues have to remain bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're in the
That's
playoff
number one
conversation,
thing.
they're not trading O'Reilly.
Yeah,
Like,
which is why it's really way too early for this.
yeah.
They're going to let him walk.
Well, maybe. I mean, they could get to the end of the season and decide then. I mean,
I mean, they don't usually sign their players again, especially like an older player. They're-
Perron, perfect example.
they let a lot of guys walk.
Pietrangelo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Pietrangelo was a guy that they left strictly over no trade clause protections.
Yeah.
All right,
He
Blaze.
doesn't have any protection. Oh.
Get us to our bets. Let's make some money.
Did that ever come through or no?
No, it did
Okay,
not.
so
You
we're gonna
lied to
do
me.
it from the hip.
You went 3 for 3 last game.
Went 3 for 3. I actually went 4 for 4.
You hit the fourth one, too?
Yeah. All right, this one. I feel like he's due Lehkonen with a goal
They could use it from
at
him
plus
for sure.
225. He's had
That's good
chances.
money. That's
he
good
just hasn't
money.
been able to finish.
There's no way it's like a nice.
I don't
it's-
need to
it's
hear
pure-
anything from
It's
Mr. Bottom Human over
gonna
here.
it's gonna be a tip in, not a shot.
Not
It's
a shot,
tip.
a tip in. All right.
Yeah.
Still going to get me money, so
Oh yeah,
I'm good
I
with
mean,
that.
you're not allowed to bet on that. That
All
would
right.
be too much.
Here's the next one. Ryan O'Reilly with shots on net at 2.5.
Oh, I'm
Plus-
definitely taking that
Yeah.
over.
Plus 140.
Yeah, that's happening.
I'm taking that over because they can move him away from McKinnon
Yep.
and just watch him
Hunt the
chew
matchups.
up
Yeah.
any other line that they go.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
Jason Magna.
And then Avs will win this by a goal and a half. So I took the puck line on that one.
All right. You and
Plus 130.
87% of people or whatever the hell it
87%
is.
of people
yeah.
have been betting on the Avs.
So you're in good company if you're taking the Avs to win this one. We're going to wrap up the pregame show. Watch Along is back today. I'm a healthy human being again. So for those of you that are on the watch along, I will talk to you then. But we'll, of course, be live post-game. Be sure to tune in to that. And we will talk to you one way or another in a little bit.